How are you doing, guys? Jamie here, and welcome back to another episode of the Low Flying Magpies. You join me today on my profile page. I haven't had a look at this actually since I started taking over, so I just, out of curiosity, thought I'd have a look at some of my stats. I'm not actually 31, by the way. I'm just going to clarify that now. I was not born in 1985. I'm 47.5 grand a week on a 1 year deal. That's not too shabby. Anyway, I've started on the screen because I didn't want to give too much away about what's happened since we last met. Only a couple of games have passed. I was actually going to live com the Cardiff game. They were fourth at the time we played them, but it was the game straight after the Preston game. So I didn't want to play the game straight after. I thought I'd leave a little bit of a gap. So we are playing another lowly team today, but I will try and make some of the games a bit more interesting. Anyway, well, games against the lowly teams could be interesting, so I'll try and pick teams that are higher in the league, hopefully in the future. But anyway, I didn't want to give too much away because you'll notice we finally suffered our first league defeat. I just rattled through the other two games. Actually, that is only two games. I've rattled through them quickly. So, as I said, the game against Cardiff straight after the Preston game, a 2-1 win. Christian Atsu with the first goal, Mitrovic making it 2. It looked fairly comfortable. I was a bit disappointed to concede a goal, but it had gone over the allotted added time when Sean Morrison scored a header from a corner. But another 3 points. I'm not too disappointed. And then, unfortunately, our first defeat. Went 1-0 up through Matt Ritchie. Stuart Dallas grabs an equaliser. 10 minutes later, or 15 minutes later or so, Christian Atsu grabbing another goal. It was looking fairly comfortable. Leeds actually struggling in their save. They were 21st when I played them, and Monk was under some serious pressure. So it's important they got a result in this game. And I said before the game, Gary Monk doesn't look like he's cut out for the job, giving him a bit of stick, and I gave him the motivation he needed to give to his players and go on and beat us. Anyway, after half time, Stuart Dallas grabbed a second, and then a very fluky own goal from Kieran Clark gave Leeds the win. And disappointingly, our first defeat in the Championship. We did go on a good run though, 17 games before our first loss, only 1 point in front of Reading now. Hopefully we can get our form back on track. And today we play Blackburn, who sit in 19th place. One thing I did want to look at actually with you guys is mainly the goals, like where they're coming from, and sort of also the goals that we concede, where they're coming from as well. So if we just have a look at the analysis. So if we have a look then, these are goal times. So a majority of our goals coming straight after half time. I don't want to take too much credit, but obviously the team talks are having a massive effect. But yeah, 13 goals of our 59 scored in the first 15 minutes in the second half. Only 3 conceded, so we're very switched on. Most of our goals conceded in the look to switch off just before half time, between half an hour and 45-minute mark. So we seem to start well. From that, we don't seem to start too well, but second half is definitely where we're strongest. Have a look at goal types. Play shots mainly. A few headers. Only 1 penalty. 2 penalties conceded. Goal assists. So this is interesting. So obviously most of them just coming from normal passes or a lot from crosses. And most of our goals are being conceded through balls. So something maybe to look at then. If you look on the right hand side of the graphic, goal locations, most of them just coming in and around the penalty area. A few outside the area, but yeah, I think we may have the work ball into box tactics switched on, maybe not. But that seems to be where our goals are coming from. If we look conceded then, mostly just inside the area. We're not conceding too many from out wide, although if we have a look at the assist locations, mostly coming from deep, so it looks like the centre backs, I think I do have closing down on, or closing down higher, so that could be a case then of the centre backs getting dragged out, playing a ball in behind and conceding that way. If you have a look at us as well, 15 goals coming from that left hand side. We really utilise the wide areas. That's one thing I love an old fashioned winger, someone who can get down the line, whipping a good ball for the strikers to feed on. One thing I wanted to note as well, a couple of injuries. One, Grant Hanley, he was moaning about not getting enough game time, but then he suffered a torn calf muscle, was out for 3 months. And also, he hasn't made too many appearances. Jamie Ward, broken his ankle, so he's out for a few months as well. Only a couple of injuries, nothing too serious. But if we have a look at today's team, again, another slightly changed side. I don't really think, I have an idea of my best 11, but I like to play players that are playing well. So although I have a starting 11 in my head, that can always change. But this is the team I've gone with today. I've gone for Carl Darlow in goal. In defence, we've got DeAndre Yedlin, Chancellor Mbemba, Kieran Clark because he wants to play some more games and he's played fairly well when I've played him, although his recent form doesn't suggest that. And Lazar, who's also after more game time. In midfield, Richie and Atsu on the wings, and a slightly changed centre midfield partnership of Diame and Hayden. And up top, we've gone for Daryl Murphy and Dwight Gale. Gale hasn't scored as many goals as I would have liked him to. If you have a look at his stats, he scored 6 goals in the league in 12, so it's one every other 2. He's got a few assists to his name, which is quite good. But I was expecting a man of his calibre to be scoring plenty more goals. I was saying about my offline save of Reading, I played the same tactic and I had Jan Kermigan in the deep line forward role and Lewis Graben in the advanced forward role. They were my 2 strikers like all season. And we won the championship and Lewis Graben I think scored 38 goals in all competitions. I don't think I've had a striker score that many goals in a save on Football Manager before. So I was hoping that Gale could hit the same heights as that, but not to be yet. Hopefully, he can kick on towards the back end of the season. As you see, we're coming up to December now, so I think the next episode will be probably one game in December, and then we'll get into January and we'll do a bit more transfers. I haven't quite worked out what sort of episode I'm going to do, whether it's just going to be a sort of routine episode, or whether I'm going to try something slightly different. So I'll have a think about that, and then you guys will definitely see that in the near future. So if we have a quick look at the opposition team today, then Blackburn going with a 5-2-1-2. A couple of good individual players in their team. We've got Jason Steele in goal, Elliot Bennett at right wing back. I think he's a good player, but potentially not in this system. Former Reading man Hope Backpan missed a sideways pass himself, and the legend up top there is Danny Graham. I believe Tony Mowbray is still in charge of this side. If we have a quick look, Blackburn. Yeah, Tony Mowbray. I know when he came in real life, he did quite a good job actually at Blackburn. I think it was sort of condemned before he came in that they would suffer relegation, but I think next year I think they'll do well. I mean, it's a big club to be down at that level, so I have a good feeling that they'll bounce back pretty quickly. But nevertheless, I back our boys to do well, and I think Friday night kick off here at St James's Park. I want a good performance, and I'm going to get into the boys. Team talk seems to have gone well. If we get into today's game, if it decides to load anytime soon. There we go. Right, I'll just make sure that goals are turned on for replays. Excellent. So then, looking for a good performance today. Want to bounce back from that first defeat of the season. So we pick the things up then. Lazar gives it to Atsu, gets it back. Lazar whips in. Mulgrew, Gale. Oh, he's hit the post. You expect him to bury that. You put your money on him scoring from there. Must have been 6 yards out, not even that, and he's managed to hit the post. But good early signs. Hopefully we can capitalise on this early pressure. Although not much happening in the game, almost half hour gone and only 4 shots in the game, no shots on target. Time ticking towards half time then, and there has been no action in this first half other than Gale hitting the post. A pretty dull performance at the moment. Going to get into them. Assertively saying far from pleased, they seem motivated. Against a lowly team like Blackburn, we should be dominating this game. I know we would have thought that against Leeds, but if you look at the stats as well, Blackburn look dominating the game. More possession, more shots. They look like they're more up for this. I really hope that Leeds performance doesn't lead to a string of bad performances. We can't afford to do that, especially with Reading breathing down our necks. Right, an hour gone and not much is happening. I'm going to make a change. Gale not having the greatest of games, so we'll bring on Mitrovic and we'll swap Mitrovic and Murphy round. We need to up our game. Blackburn still having the better of the game. Right, we join again. Emnes Well cut out by Richie. Mitrovic plays a great ball over to Murphy. He's in behind. Murphy. Straight at Steele. The substitute. First chance of the game, and it's gone straight at the keeper as Richie whips in the corner, and it's collected well by Jason Steele. Right, another change. 20 minutes to go. I think another change up front. Murphy wasn't the substitute. I tell a lie. I'm gonna bring Hadji on. Hadji, he hasn't played too much recently, but we know he's got a goal in him, so we get him on in that advanced forward role. Time ticking away, and this is turning into a really dull game. Diame not having the greatest of games, so I'm quite surprised that I haven't put Shelby on the bench. I'm a bit annoyed at myself to that. I'll bring on Jack Cole back anyway, and we'll swap these two round. Hayden, what does Hayden prefer to be? A box-to-box midfielder. Okay, so we'll get Cole back to be the playmaker then. What's his preferred style? Roaming playmaker, I can deal with that. If we get Hayden on that box-to-box role, and we'll get Cole back to be a roaming playmaker. Keep as we are for now. I don't want to change to attacking because we've seen Blackburn have had the better of the game, so I don't want to go attacking and then get caught. Right, and Bemba, Yedlin. The time is now, boys. Richie comes forward, plays to Colback. What's he going to do with it? Colback, Hadji, Richie. Oh, he's hit the bar. Oh, I thought that was it. I thought that was our moment where we were going to steal it. Can we do anything from the corner? Colback. It's a poor corner, but it falls to Richie. Back to Colback. Gets the ball in. Hayden. Oh, he's found the net. A great finish from Isaac Hayden. Oh, we have stolen it against the run of play. I was screaming in my head for Colback to play it back to Richie. And Richie's let it go. And that's a great finish from Hayden. Looks like he's placed that in the top corner. 5 minutes to go. Can we hold on now? We've conceded some sloppy goals. Looks like it's going to be a balloon free kick from Richie. And there it is, 1-0. A very unconvincing victory. We definitely made hard work of that. But it's important that we bounce back to winning ways. Because quite frankly, that performance, for lack of better word, was absolutely bollocks. So, relieved to say the least. Right, after that game, I've just been having a look at the fixtures, trying to work out the next game. If you have a look at the positions of these clubs, not too many teams in and around us. We've got Forest twice in the month of December, so I think what we'll do is we'll come back after a few games. We'll come back for the home game against Forest, the New Year's Eve game. Hopefully we'll pick up our run of form again. Just have a look at the table after that win. That was the Friday night game, so Reading haven't played yet, but we do extend our advantage back to 4 points. And if we have, again, a quick look at the schedule, I think, yeah, we'll come back for the Forest home game. Unless, of course, one of these teams goes on a bit of a run and gets in and around the playoffs, then we may change. Otherwise, we'll play a few games and we'll come back to things. We'll celebrate a New Year's Eve in Newcastle. I'm sure that's something to look forward to. Anyway, that's going to be it from me. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please pop a like on there for me. If you are new here, please subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in a bit.